Have you ever wondered what it would be like to work with deities from a lightworker perspective that might not be societally on the light side? Let's take a look at that. Good morning. I am Reba, the Starbeam Alchemist, and today we're going to take a look at Loki, who a lot of people claim to be inherently evil because he's a trickster. But he has been coming into my life and my awareness recently. And if I were to really think about it, he's definitely been in my awareness like this whole spiritual awakening journey. And I've just kind of put him off to the side until now. So, looking at Loki from a lightworker perspective, he is all about transformation. He really loves people who take the time to dive in and do their inner work, do their shadow work, and transform themselves into new beings. And if spiritual awakening isn't transformation, I don't know what is. So, when you're going through spiritual awakening, you are thrown into situations that suddenly your life is flipped upside down. In the end, it's all for your benefit. But in the midst of it, it's really difficult to take the higher perspectives. I feel like I am currently going through yet another dark night of the soul. Might not be as dark as when I first started this journey, but it's definitely been an interesting 2 months, going on 3. I have been out of work due to lung issues, and it's giving me a lot of time for introspection and those things. And Loki works off of triggering those situations within your life. It's going to be kind of chaotic because he's a chaotic god. Loki does what Loki wants to do, and no one's going to tell him what to do. And the situations he creates is very chaotic. In the moment, you're going, oh my goodness, universe. Like, what are you doing to me? And he has been in my awareness for a while, like I said, but him and a few of the other gods and goddesses, even though I'm polytheistic, I have not worked with them. And Loki and Hecate have been coming in quite a bit. If you want to know about Hecate from a lightworker perspective, stay tuned because she's going to be my next video. But I finally was like, okay, I can no longer ignore this. So whenever I get signs, symbols, spirit animals, gods, goddesses, they come into my awareness. And sometimes it starts with a spirit animal or a symbol that leads me to gods and goddesses. And they have been really my pantheon, so to speak, has been really coming online. I've been doing resistances and karmic releases around receiving divine guidance and being open to divine guidance that's in my highest and best good. And Loki, like I said, has come into my awareness. And last night, I could no longer ignore Loki. And I asked for something from Loki to know that he really wanted to work with me, because he's a very particular god. You know, that any deity, they have the option to say no, they don't want to work with you. And I kind of figured that wasn't the case, because they can come to you. And Loki in particular is known for just doing the thing and not asking for permission for the thing, and will upset your life. And as I looked into it, went down the rabbit hole of looking at him, reading about him from a different perspective. I wanted to understand why he was coming to me as a light worker. I do set the intention when I work with deities to do everything in my highest and best good. So when I call my spirit team, I call them forward in the highest light and resonance to that of my highest and best good, so that I know anything that's coming in is ultimately happening for my highest and best good. It's happening for me, not to me or against me. And as I looked him up last night, I just had epiphany after epiphany. And the biggest one was at the beginning of my spiritual journey. I was coming across a lot of videos where people were like, oh, I was heavy moving through all of my stuff 20, 30 years, and just their stories of holding on to all of the trauma and not letting their deep stuff go, and like taking a long time to get where they were, just was not appealing for me. I had a vision, and I needed that vision to come to fruition as soon as it possibly could. And anyone who knows me and knows my past, I had a really great childhood on the one hand, and on the other hand, I had some really crappy things happen to me. And those few crappy instances really overran my entire life, how I thought, how I moved in the world, and allowed it to just kind of cloud over and take precedence over the good that was in my life. And I didn't want to take forever to move through my trauma. I wanted to move through my trauma and be done with it. That being said, when I first started, the first 18 months of my journey was just kind of figuring it out. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know of any spiritual light worker person. I didn't know where to start. I didn't have the money to go to anyone. And until I started muscle testing, and someone took me under her wing, met me at where I was financially, and held space for me on a weekly basis for the first 4 years after I found her. So that took me into about 5.5 year mark. I continued to work with her beyond that first 4 years, but not on a weekly basis. I finally hit the point where I could go and move up and above and beyond that. But throughout it, like everything happens. Like, some of it is me ignoring spirit. Like, I've been putting off creating something that now I am working on creating. And when you ignore the universe will upend you when it's time to get you on the right path. And procrastinating and putting off something you're supposed to do spiritually isn't the best idea. But Loki came in and showed me last night that when I intentioned for fast, accelerated spiritual growth to as fast as my soul could handle it, my soul and body, right? As fast as my soul and body could handle the ascension, I wanted that. I didn't want the slow path. I didn't want the easy path. And because I was calling in spirit guides to help facilitate that, he let me show me last night, in studying him, but also he came into me to my dreams last night and showed me a lot of things as well, and was like, oh, here, this is my work, this is my work, this is my work. Like, he was very like, this is me, this is me, this is me upending your life for your highest and best good. And I went, oh, wow. Has it been an interesting ride? Yes. Has it been a roller coaster? Yes. Am I way up here? Yes. And it's because I've allowed that to come into my life. Am I going to take it to the extent of like worshiping him? I really don't worship any of the deities except for what I call true source of light. But I do call them forth. I do ask for other deities' assistance. I have studied all the gods and goddesses since I was a little girl, and I understand that what we know as the Bible was completely changed and rewritten around the same time as the Inquisition and the Spanish witch hunts were going on. As soon as those witch hunts started, the goddess started being removed out of most texts. And so I've always been aware of, well, if we are created in the image of God, how is it that we are male and female? Where's our female counterpart? So it's always taking me down the rabbit hole of looking at goddesses and bringing in goddess energy, our divine feminine energy. And so, like, Loki coming in is very interesting because even Loki himself is gender fluid. He represents himself throughout all Norse mythology as sometimes female, sometimes male. And he is very interesting. He's definitely a little bit on the chaotic side, but he can definitely be used from a lightworker perspective. If you're needing things to be shook up, if you are feeling like you're in a state of stagnancy, and I have felt like I'm in a state of stagnancy for the last couple of years. My son passed away a couple of years ago, and ever since then, it just kind of put me down here. Anytime we lose someone close to us, it can cause us to have a lack of joy and motivation. And I just didn't know how to push forward and push through that. And I'm finally coming out of that, feel like I'm being rebirthed, and just going through a death rebirth phase of letting things go and coming into myself for the first time in a long time. Like, the last 3 years have been very, very, very intense for me. Just a lot of things have happened, and he showed me last night that he's trying to push me through the stagnancy and back into where I'm supposed to be. So he is very interesting. I'm definitely going to be aware of his presence in the moments of chaos. So just know that if you are on your spiritual awakening path, if things seem a little bit more chaotic and a little bit more like they're not going in your favor, it's probably because Loki's hands in the pot messing with things. So let me know in the comments what you think about this video and the information that you found in here. And if you like this video, leave a like and stay tuned for the next video about working with Hecate. Bye! Reach for the stars.